Hi guys, this is Nishant from Simply Interiors and you're watching our series on kitchens. Today we will be talking about a concept which is a theoretical concept about kitchen work triangles. A lot of people keep coming over and discussing how to optimize, how to make sure that your kitchen is optimized based on the actual work that is going to happen, not on the looks, not entirely on the looks, but on actual work that is going to happen. After all, kitchen is where you spend most of your time, and kitchen is where the people who are staying inside the house lose most of their energy. Now, obviously, when you're designing a kitchen, when you're making a kitchen, you should make sure that this energy is saved to as much as possible. For that reason, there is a concept, a simple concept, an old concept called kitchen work triangle. Now, what is a work triangle? A triangle by definition is anything which has three sides and three vertices. A kitchen work triangle basically has imaginary lines drawn through three vertices. Each of this is denoted, one by the sink, one by the stove, and third one by the refrigerator. This is a concept which came up sometime before the World War II and all. So it's an old concept, but to some extent it still matters because these are the three areas between which most of the time when we are cooking is actually spent. So we'll take vegetables out from the refrigerator, take them to the sink, wash them up, then take them to a work counter which is next to the stove obviously, and then start peeling and chopping them, and so on and so forth. So this cycle keeps continuing and keeps going on, and it's better to optimize this distance. Another reason why these 3 points have been taken is that they can actually not be next to each other. You cannot have the stove next to the sink because the water will splash onto the fire. You cannot have the stove next to the refrigerator because, well, one is cold, one is hot. Similarly, you cannot have a sink next to the refrigerator because again the water is an issue. So a kitchen work triangle actually tells you about the optimum distance between these three to be kept, and that according to this theory is between 4 feet and 9 feet. So these three should not be less than 4 feet to each other and should not be more than 9 feet away from each other. This is to optimize the space that is given. Of course, there have to be certain issues. If the kitchen is small, if the kitchen is a single wall kitchen, obviously everything is a straight line, so you don't really have a work triangle. If a kitchen is very big, if there are more than one people going to cook in the kitchen, then obviously you will have to make some adjustments, and so on and so forth. But the basic theory of a kitchen work triangle is that the distance between any two of these three vertices should not be less than 4 feet and should not be more than 9 feet. A few other points are there. So the one point is that the total distance between these three should be between 13 and 26 feet. It should not be less than 13, more than 26. This is to optimize, of course, again, your traveling time. The another thing which is there is, now you may actually calculate like, yeah, okay, fine, the distance between my stove and my refrigerator is 6 feet, but there is something in between. So that should not be there. There should be a clear line of sight between these two, and preferably there should be a clear way of going from straight line going from one to the other. Another point which is very important is that these lines, which are these imaginary lines of the triangle, should not actually intersect with a path which goes through or away from the kitchen, where a lot of people might be walking in, walking out. So let's say from the main door, from the living room, you have to go to, let's say, the dining room, okay, and you have kitchen placed somewhere in between. So obviously you don't want this work triangle to lie in such a way that people going from the living to the dining will actually have to pass through this, because what will happen is eventually the cook or the person who is cooking will keep banging into these people, and vice versa. So these are certain things which you have to keep in mind. This is basically what kitchen work triangle or the golden triangle talks about. Now, one thing which is very important is this really relevant in today's world? How relevant is it? Because see, this is a concept which developed before the Second World War. The things have evolved. Things have evolved to the extent that now cooking is not really just done on a stove. It can be done in an oven. A rice cooker is there. You have a grill. You have 2 or 3 different types of ovens usually. So a lot of things which have developed. Similarly, a lot of houses have more than one refrigerator as well. They have a separate pantry. They have a separate sink So one sink is there for keeping the utensils, another one is there just for cleaning the vegetables, and so on and so forth. So a lot of things have changed. There are dishwashers which have come in, there are numerous other electrical appliances which have come in. The entire way of cooking, the entire things which are being cooked have completely changed over the years. So is this really relevant? Now the point here is that we are not really force fitting the kitchen work triangle or anybody, and any designer should not be doing that. No force fitting is required, but the point is to keep this concept in mind when you are actually designing your kitchen. Of course, for some people it may be more relevant to have an oven instead of a stove on one of the vertices and decide according to that. For some people it may also be more relevant to have a couple of refrigerators and then accordingly see what works and what doesn't. For some people there may be a cook coming from outside and doing the cooking for them, and they may also be simultaneously doing some cooking. For some people there may be 2 or 3 people from the same household who may be cooking. Based on the kind of requirements that you have to decide where things have to be placed. The designer has to help you to do that, and for that keeping this concept of kitchen work triangle in mind helps, and it can be useful. That's the only reason why this theory is still being studied and still being implemented in a lot of places. I hope this helps, guys. Take care. We'll be back with another episode on the kitchen series. Take care. This is Nishant signing off from Simply Interiors. Bye bye.